I'm Dee Norman, your liminal reader, and this is the Quiet Catalogue. Get comfortable. This broadcast is meant for relaxed listening. Broadcast 003-1-DG. Dream Geography, The Mansion on the Cliff. Date unknown. They said to look for the large boulder at the edge of the parking lot at the back of the park. That's where the journey starts, but not until after you have the key. You have the key, so you drive to the park and pull your car over the bridge that spans the creek. Your car bounces gently as its tires meet the cracked pavement on the other side. You pull into an empty space, turn off the engine, and sit for a few moments, listening to your car's engine tick as it cools. Eventually, you take the key from the cup holder. It is warm and heavier than it looks. You tuck it into your pocket and get out of the car. The sun shines down from almost directly overhead, warm but not hot. A cool breeze rifles through your hair. You've had the key for a while now. You can't quite remember where you picked it up, but you already had it by the time they told you about the park and the boulder. In the distance, you can see a soccer field on the far side of the parking lot. A team is practicing. Their bright red uniforms stand out against the green grass. You can just hear the shouts of the team members, occasionally punctuated by the deeper voice of the coach. When you reach the edge of the parking lot, you see it is crumbling. Chunks of the asphalt have broken off and joined the dirt of the field that borders it. A flimsy-looking wire fence is strung along the border of the field, separating it from the park. 3 strands of wire loop from one wooden post to the next. Its posts lean at different angles. You walk parallel to the fence, and eventually you come to a gap. There is no gate, just an opening. The boulder sits on the far side of the gap, over to one side. You pause to look around. No one is in sight. There are no other cars on this side of the parking lot. Despite the other people in the park, a feeling of solitude wells up around you. Tall grass blocks the opening in the fence, but you push past it. It brushes gently against your legs. You reach down and feel the tasseled tops of one of the blades. When you step into the field, everything seems to change. The shouts from the distant soccer field fade away entirely. All you can hear is the grass rustling. The smell of warm asphalt is replaced by the fresh smell of grass and earth. A few steps into the field, You find a broad path that leads through the golden grass. The far side of the boulder marks the start of the path. Its gray bulk rises from the tall grass, its surface smooth from weather and time. As you draw closer, you notice traces left by other visitors. Initials are scratched into the soft stone. A small heart painted in purple glitter nail polish gleams in the sunlight. Further down the surface, the markings become more abstract. A triangle, 3 interlocking circles, and at the very base of the stone, nearly hidden from view, someone has carved a key. You kneel to examine it. The soil feels cool beneath your knee, while the stone is warm beneath your fingertips. The carving is deep and clear. It matches the key in your pocket exactly. After a moment, you stand and rest your hand on the boulder. You feel no desire to add your own mark. Being here is enough. Several feet beyond the stone, a narrow path winds through the grass. You follow it, leaving the parking lot behind. At first, the grass closes in on both sides, but after a few curves, the path widens out again. You trail your hands along the tops of the plants as you walk. Though the town is not far away, the sounds of everyday life have vanished. All that remains is the rustle of grass and the distant hum of insects near the river. The land rises and falls more than it first appeared. At the top of one rise, you pause to look around. The field stretches away like a golden sea. Beyond it, a tall bluff rises from the landscape. At its summit stands a rambling mansion. You continue toward it. A narrow creek crosses your path. You pause to crouch beside the water and dip your hand into its cool current. Pebbles line the bottom, and small shadows dart through the shallows. After a few moments, you continue. As you walk, you notice how much of the landscape is quietly in motion. The grass sways, clouds drift overhead. Water continues its journey toward the river behind you. The bluff grows steadily larger in your vision until it fills your view. The closer you come, the less of the mansion you can see. Soon only the cliff face remains, the house hidden somewhere above. The path eventually broadens into a semicircle of bare earth at the base of the cliff. The stone wall is the same gray rock as the boulder that marked the beginning of your journey. A natural opening leads into the cliff. A black iron gate guards the entrance, its brass lock polished and bright in the sunlight. The key in your pocket fits easily into the lock. A gentle thunk sounds as the bolt withdraws and the gate swings inward. Beyond it lies a small cave illuminated by a warm golden glow. You step inside and close the gate behind you. Before continuing, you pause to look back through the bars. The field remains unchanged. Clouds drift overhead. The grass continues to sway in the breeze. The cave is cool and smells faintly of damp earth. Thin trickles of water run down the stone walls. A rough table nearby holds several small flashlights. You test one briefly before clipping it to your belt. At the back of the cave stands an old-fashioned elevator. Its framework disappears into the rock above, and its brass scissor gate stands open in welcome. A narrow marble threshold marks the entrance. Inside, warm light shines through etched glass in the ceiling. Wood-paneled walls, brass trim, and a faded Persian rug give the space a quiet elegance softened by age. A single black button waits on a small control panel. You slide the gate closed, fasten the latch, and press the button. It moves smoothly beneath your finger. A deep hum begins. Slowly, the elevator rises. Stones drift past beyond the gate. Then, after a time, the natural rock gives way to carefully fitted blocks of gray masonry. Eventually, the elevator slows. The steady hum softens and fades away. When the car comes to a stop, the gate does not open on its own. Instead, a dull chime sounds somewhere above you. Through the crossed brass bars, you can make out an open space beyond, filled with dazzling sunlight. It is difficult to judge its size. You release the latch and slide the gate aside. It opens easily. Stepping across the threshold, you find yourself standing in the foyer of the mansion. The room is bright. Sunlight streams through a large fanlight above a pair of heavy front doors, filling the space with warm afternoon light. Above you, A crystal chandelier hangs from the ceiling. The sunlight catches in its pendants and scatters small reflections across the walls. The floor beneath your feet is patterned in black and white marble. Along one wall stands a heavy entryway table. A large mirror hangs above it. A thin layer of dust softens its reflection, but when you glance into it, you find yourself looking back. The sight makes you smile. The front doors are beautifully crafted, their dark wood covered in intricate details. You try the key again, but it will not fit the front door lock. So you put the key away and step closer to the narrow windows on either side of the doors and look out. From this height, you can look over the field and see the broad curve of the river as it winds through the landscape. Further away, the park spreads itself out, with the town nestled tranquilly beyond its edges. After a few moments, you turn your attention back to the house. A switch plate is mounted beside the door. When you press it, the chandelier and other room lights flicker on. The mansion still has power. As you continue your exploration, you switch on lights as you go. Beyond the foyer lies a grand central hall. A broad staircase rises to a second-floor gallery that circles the room above. Sunlight pours through tall windows, illuminating polished banisters and the worn shine of the wooden floor. 4 doorways lead from the hall. You decide to begin with the room immediately to your right. The parlor is larger than you expected. Most of the furniture is hidden beneath the white sheets and canvas covers that soften its shapes into gentle hills and ridges. 2 separate seating areas occupy the room. One is arranged around a fireplace that has long since grown cold. The hearth is spotless. A stack of logs waits inside, neatly arranged as though someone intended to return and light them. A large painting hangs above the mantel. Small decorative objects remain where they were placed years ago. Floor-to-ceiling curtains frame tall windows overlooking the river and the farmland beyond. Dust rises in small clouds as you cross the carpet. When you glance behind you, you can see your footprints remain. In one corner stands a small harpsichord. Its lid is closed. You resist the urge to disturb the quiet with it and continue through a doorway at the back of the room. The library is even larger than the parlor. Bookcases line the walls from floor to ceiling. A narrow spiral staircase rises to a second-story gallery lined with still more shelves. The room feels less abandoned than the parlor. The furniture here is uncovered. A pair of wingback chairs face another fireplace. Nearby stands a long reading table fitted with green shaded lamps. At one end of the table rests a large dictionary on a wooden stand. A globe waits nearby. In the back of the room, a heavy desk faces two more comfortable armchairs. The shelves of the library are still full. Thousands of books rest neatly on the shelves. You spend some time wandering slowly, examining the bookcases. The collection is surprisingly varied. History occupies one section, science another. There are shelves devoted to travel, architecture, poetry, metaphysics, and languages. Leather-bound encyclopedias stand shoulder to shoulder with slender volumes whose titles have been stamped in fading gold. As you walk, you find yourself searching for subjects that interest you most. It does not take long to find them. You run your fingers lightly across the spines, reading familiar titles and discovering unfamiliar ones as well. Here and there, a volume catches your attention, and you pull it free to examine it more closely before carefully returning it to its place. Many of the books you pick up show signs of having been read and reread. Their spines are well broken in. Some contain handwritten notes tucked between their pages or scribbled in the margins. Others bear small book plates identifying a variety of long-forgotten owners. The longer you spend among the shelves, the easier it becomes to imagine losing track of time here. An afternoon could disappear in this room without effort. Eventually, you return the book in your hands to its proper place and continue your exploration of the library. You climb the spiral staircase and walk slowly around the upper gallery. From above, the room feels even more expansive. Eventually, you descend and continue your exploration. The kitchen occupies the next room of the house. It was clearly designed to serve large gatherings. A row of deep sinks lines one wall beneath wide windows. Nearby stand a massive gas range and an equally imposing wood-burning stove. An old icebox occupies a corner where a refrigerator might have stood in a more modern home. At the center of the room stands a broad work table. It still looks ready for use. Opening one of the drawers reveals neatly arranged wooden spoons, spatulas, and other kitchen tools. Crisp white curtains hang in front of the bright windows. Several doors lead away from the kitchen. One opens to the outside. Another leads into a narrow servant's passage. A third opens into the dining room. You cross the kitchen and move toward the dining room door. You place your hand on its surface and pause before pushing it open. You take a deep breath and imagine the hustle and bustle that used to occupy the space you are in. Now it stands quietly empty, at peace. The dining room is not what you expect. At first, it appears much like the rest of the house. Sunlight filters through tall windows. Motes of dust dance in the air. Twin chandeliers hang from the ceiling, and wall sconces line the walls, centered on panels of immaculate wallpaper. Everything is clean and orderly, preserved as carefully as the rooms you have already explored. Then you notice the floor. Only a narrow strip of wood remains around the edges of the room, 3 or 4 feet at most. Beyond it, the center of the floor is simply gone. You step closer and see that the remaining boards slope gently downward into open air. The subflooring and floor studs are gone. Time and gravity have done a thorough job. The missing section is enormous. It occupies most of the room, leaving a vast opening where a dining table and chairs would once have stood. You take another couple of careful steps closer. From your vantage point, you see a basement stretching beneath the room. Well-maintained stone walls are visible. Near the center of the basement floor is another opening, smaller than the one you are peering through, but still large enough to attract your attention. You stand quietly for a moment, trying to understand what happened here. The strangest part is that everything else remains pristine. The chandeliers in the dining room are hanging perfectly straight. The wallpaper shows no sign of water damage or age. The sconces remain fixed firmly to the walls. Even the wood flooring around the edges of the room appears sound. Along one wall stands a long sideboard. Somehow it has avoided sliding into the opening, despite the slant of the floor beneath it. It blocks part of the narrow walkway that circles the room, deterring you from trying to walk around the edge. Beyond, the floor continues around the far side of the opening. Below, through the second hole in the basement floor, you can make out only darkness. you find yourself wondering where that opening leads. Thanks for listening to the Quiet Catalogue. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like and share. If you'd like to suggest a setting for an episode, please send an email to thequietcatalogue@gmail.com. If you'd like to find out about other ways to support this broadcast, please visit my Ko-fi at the address provided in the episode notes. Rest well, my friends.